It all starts one sunny day. All the people go to the large hall. At this time, the announcement of the players begins. The main character, the best player in the 6th and 7th World Championships, appears on the stage. Our hero's name is Tiho. As soon as the hero appears, everyone notices that he has an unusual name and clothes, and he is also too small. One of the men learns that a red-haired Viking once killed him, and a fight begins. Our hero watches all this and thinks that two big men are really going to start fighting now. Only after shouts and threatening glances do the two warriors simply give each other their respect. The man with the beard pats the red-haired man on the shoulder and is happy that they met in Valhalla. The red-haired Viking says he died from a boy with braids. He stabbed the big guy in the back with a dagger and shouted something about his father. The man with the beard is very happy because his son avenged his father, and the red-haired man also praises the boy and says that the Viking raised a good son. Taho looks at the Vikings and doesn't understand how he ended up in such a harsh world. In the past, the hero just wanted to win a 3rd world championship in a row. Only because of nerves and severe stress does the guy remember that he died at the tournament. Taho can't believe he could die so senselessly. A girl appears before the hero and begins to praise the guy for winning many battles over a long period of time. After the girl's words, all the Vikings begin to rejoice and want to join forces with the hero to see his good fighting skills. Taho looks at the Valkyrie and realizes that all these problems are because of this girl. The guy again remembers the past when he died. After the hero's death, a girl appeared to take the soul of the warrior who had lost his life. Taho opens his eyes to see who has appeared to take his soul. Opening his eyes, the hero sees a beautiful girl in front of him, offering him her hand. As soon as the boy took the girl's hand, a portal opened and they flew to Valhalla. Valhalla is the afterlife of Norse mythology, a place you can go to if you die in battle as a true warrior. Then it turns out that a real Valkyrie accepted our hero as a real warrior who died in a real battle. Taho wants to explain to the girl that he is not a real warrior, a simple person who likes to play online games, but the Valkyrie thinks that games are about battles and duels. At this moment, as the hero wants to explain everything, the warrior hears the sound of an alarm. The girl asks all the warriors to prepare for battle because they are being attacked, but the hero is so shocked that he is not ready for battle at all. A fierce battle begins. Taho watches the battle and cannot understand what to do next, because he has never held a real sword in his hands. But as soon as the boy tried to raise his sword, an enemy suddenly attacked him. The hero was already preparing to die, but then a big and evil Viking appeared. The Viking used a stone fist which caught the bear, and with such powerful force the enemy flew many meters away. The joyful warrior asked if the boy really didn't know what a real saga was. Only in the hero's eyes was it clearly visible that he really did not know what a saga was. The warrior begins to explain to the boy that saga means history, and to get to Valhalla one must have great achievements throughout one's life. Because achievements are the strength of every Viking, the greater and more significant the achievements, the stronger the warrior. Taho recalls his achievements and realizes that his achievement is a lifetime of playing online games. Then the hero recalls the achievements of his character in the game, whose name was the immortal warrior Kastelad. As soon as the boy remembered his character in the game, he called up a system window, to which the warrior was sure that the boy really had his own saga. Taho could read what was written in the system, but did not know what language it was written in. After the boy learned that his power was the power of Kastelad, he became much more confident in himself and realized that he could become stronger in this world. The Viking pushes the hero and wants to see what he's capable of. Taho approaches the enemy and prepares for a real battle. The warrior's blow pushed the boy away. The hero could not understand why Kastelad's strength was so weak. Because the previous Kastelad was able to defeat such a weak enemy very easily. The warrior decided to check his saga again and noticed that he actually possessed only 1% of Kastelad's true power. But this did not stop the hero. He only wants to win this battle even more. The Viking was happy to see Taho's true power, so the warrior will expect new achievements from our hero. Born leaves the battlefield and asks the boy to survive so that they can meet again and measure their strength and achievements. After Born's words, the boy decided that even 1% of Kastelad's strength could defeat the enemy. The hero decided to run past the enemy to pick up the sword. Kastelad was a warrior, even a superman, who could defeat 100 enemies single-handedly. Taho took up his sword, stood before the enemy without fear, and began to imagine his story, the story of his character Kastelad. The enemy struck a powerful blow with a hammer, but the boy was able to dodge the powerful blow. Taho began to recall the abilities the character had. It was a storm ability that simply swept away the enemy like a hurricane. The hero activated the ability of the curtains and easily defeated his enemy. Only with such a strong ability the boy could not stop, so he flew forward. After activating the ability, the hero noticed that a new saga had been added to his statistics. It was a saga that increased movement speed. Then Taeho decided that with a new saga, he would definitely win and emerge from the battlefield alive. After the battle, all the warriors sat in the tavern and celebrated the victory. The red-haired Viking was surprised that his friend survived this battle, but the scarred Viking claims that it was just a warm-up and not a battle. The guy wasn't thrilled with the winner's meal because it was just booze and a lot of meat. Born only approached the hero because if the hero wants better food, he needs to increase his warrior class. Now this is a lower-level festival where low-class warriors gather, so the food and drink are not of the best quality. Taeho is surprised if Born is also a low-class warrior, but this is not the case. The Viking decided to go down to the hero for a short while. The guy thanks the Viking because if it weren't for Born, the hero could have died in battle. The warrior also told about the saga. Taeho also wonders what will happen if the hero dies in Valgal. If so, then the souls of the people who died will transform into steel warriors. Steel warriors feel nothing, neither hunger nor pain, and they can fight forever. But the guy is just shocked by this. It's not what he imagined, it's just a steel prison. The hero decided that he must survive to avoid being put in such a steel prison, and the boy's affiliation would soon be determined. Taeho wonders what it is, but Born points his finger because everything is about to start. A warrior in beautiful armor enters the tavern. He saw the battle of all the Vikings and their achievements today. Now the warrior will tell you which legion each Viking belongs to. The hero is shocked when he sees the Valkyrie, the daughter of Odin Regan, born of noble blood. The horsewoman raises her sword and asks all the warriors to look into their cups. The cups will say who the warriors will trust and who to follow. All Vikings belong to the Legion of the Gods of Asgard, so the hero will receive great power from the god, but the only gods the boy knows are Odin and Thor. Taeho looks into the cup, hoping to gain great power from Odin or Thor, the god of thunder and lightning. The hero is sailing in a boat on a large river. The guy also thinks about the Legion of Gods. Taeho is panicking and can't understand why he's sailing alone to the Legion of Gods. The girl asks the hero not to panic because the Legion of Gods is strong because no one hinders them from above or below. From such words the guy thinks that this is just paradise, because in this legion there will be only one. The young man remembers how he looked into the cup and saw his legion Iduna, the legion of the goddess of eternal youth. In the tavern, all the Vikings have received Thor legions or better. At this time, Born wishes our hero success in his legion. After the feast in the tavern the next day, all the warriors disperse to their legions. Also, look for the hero throughout the Idun legion. Taeho approaches the girl and asks where he can find Idun's legion. The girl was very happy about the hero's question because she was also in Idun's legion. The girl is happy to see the guy because there haven't been any new people in their legion for a long time, and the girl's name is Heda. Taeho is interested in Heda, what the Vikings are fighting against. Heda agreed to explain and tell everything. The world looks like a large tree. Outside the tree, in the roots underground, is Muspelheim, from where evil gods, monsters, and giants attack. The boy also notices a red dot called Yeren. This place has long since fallen, so all the warriors are fighting enemies who want to destroy the world. The hero remembered for a second that such a place was called Rangarek. Taeho understood everything correctly. Now he is in Rangarek, where all the warriors are fighting for the fate of the world to save everyone. This all means that you can move between worlds, so the boy thought he had a chance to return to his world. While Heda was telling the hero everything, they had already sailed to the temple of the goddess, so as her warriors they must pay honor and respect. Taeho walks through the temple and marvels at the beauty. He is sure that he will be able to see the real goddess here. Only the boy will be able to see the goddess from a distance. Now the goddess is in a higher place. Heda gives the hero an apple and asks him to stand in front of the statue and throw the apple. The boy is surprised by the golden apple. Taeho stands in front of the statue and throws an apple on the floor, causing the apple tree pattern to glow brightly. A goddess appears before the hero. She asks her faithful warrior to come closer. The guy is surprised because it's the first time he's seen the goddess, so he kneels in respect. Like a beautiful and great shower of water pouring from the sky, the goddess appeared. The hero's body could not stand on its feet, so he fell to his knees, and the goddess decided to give him her blessing. The goddess's blessing will grant Taeho protection from mortal danger. It is Iduna's blessing of life. The boy feels great strength from the blessing because youth is strength. All the chronic pain the hero had in his back and bones from spending a lot of time playing games simply disappeared. After the blessing, the goddess looked at the hero and said that a great contribution to her legion awaited her. Meanwhile, Heda asks Teho if he has received a blessing from the goddess. Eden is the goddess of eternal youth and longevity. On the battlefield, a hero may feel unbearable pain, but with her blessing, it is almost impossible to die. As the boy grows, the goddess's blessing will also become stronger, which is why everyone calls Idun's legion the Zombie Legion. Teho wonders if once they win all the battles, he will be able to return to his world and live his past life. Heda extends her hand to the young man and replies that of course he will be able to return if they win this battle. Teho must return to his world because there is no happiness in remaining in a world of eternal battle. The guy takes Heda's hand and finds himself too close to the girl, which makes him blush very much. The hero dreams of returning home from work and being greeted by a joyful Heda. And then the beautiful and joyful girl prepares a delicious meal for the young man. Only then does the hero quickly return to real life where he eats very tough meat that looks a lot like leather shoes. The redhead laughs and remarks that the meat here is too tough, so they need to raise their class to eat better food. Because moving up in class gives you better housing, better food and drink, and the most comfortable conditions. The girl smiles beautifully and tells our hero to hold on because he needs to raise his class and win the battle. From such words and Heda's smile, the boy began to imagine them walking together along the river. After eating, the redhead led our hero to the training hall because after each defeated enemy, a rune falls out. Then Teho remembers that when he defeated an enemy, there was something like a rune in him. Such runes can be used to enhance one's abilities. The guy can increase strength, endurance, and agility, and there are also mana and willpower characteristics. Heda explains that mana enhances magical defenses, and willpower enhances concentration and mental defenses. Only sagas are special, so simple skills that increase do not make sagas stronger, so the greater the belief in the saga and its achievements, the stronger it becomes. Sometimes a saga can become even stronger when it was in its own world. For example, killing a snake can grow into the achievement of killing a dragon. Sagas about weaker warriors, they usually just want to become stronger. Becoming stronger is of course very good, but for a real saga this is not enough. Sagas are real legends, so the effects are different. Sagas can create weapons, transform, and even create armies. But the hero needs to remember only one thing. To trigger his saga and develop it, only he can do it. Everything depends only on Teho. Therefore the story of the Dragon Knight Castellad must be a true legend. As Heda was explaining everything to the hero, an alarm sounded. At this time, a portal appeared before the boy and girl, inviting them to join the battle. Once Teho passes through the portal, he will appear in the deployment waiting area. All warriors gather there before entering battle. The redhead put armor on the hero and prepared him for battle. Before Teho entered the portal, the girl asked the hero to return alive. Only the boy remembers that thanks to the goddess's blessing, it is practically impossible to die. The hero confidently enters the portal. As soon as the boy passed through the portal, he saw many other warriors from different legions. Someone hit the hero on the back. The guy was hit on the back by Born. He's glad to see the hero. Born looks at the young man and claims that he looks more confident than before. Is there really a beautiful Valkyrie in their legion for whom the hero will strive? The warrior asks the boy to find his legion because there will be a commander in this battle. A strong warrior stops in front of Teho and asks if the boy is really a warrior of the Iduna Legion. Ragnar asks the young man to stand behind the warriors and not get in the way. As soon as the Vikings lined up, Ragnar began shouting that today he would be their commander from Heimdall's legion. The goal of the battle is to regain territory that the warriors once lost to the gnolls, so the Vikings will appear in the middle of the battlefield. After Ragnar's beautiful speech, all the warriors shouted and marched forward to the portal that would take them into battle. Ragnar looks at the warriors behind him and asks everyone to follow him. At this time, a fierce fight for territory is taking place on the battlefield. The Vikings saw a portal behind them and were happy that help would soon arrive. But high on the mountain a great enemy appeared. Whitefang jumped from the mountain and defeated many warriors. During the battle, the warriors began to discuss how big the enemy was and what to do with him. Behind the Whitefang, a portal appeared from which many Vikings ran out. But as soon as Ragnar saw an enemy who was bigger than them all, he was seriously scared. Our hero was the last to emerge from the portal and met the White Fang face to face. Teho looked at the White Fang and didn't understand who had opened a portal in such a place. The hero looked at the boss and thought that now everything was like in a game. He first had to come up with a winning tactic. And first you need to deal with a big sledgehammer that can simply kill a guy with one blow. Such a small shield would not be able to withstand a sledgehammer blow. Therefore, Teho decides to spend all the runes and invest them in agility. The hero deftly dodged the sledgehammer's blow. All the warriors were shocked how our hero was able to dodge the blow of such a large sledgehammer. but just dodging won't be enough. All the warriors decided that they should try to win and hit the legs. With just one strong blow, the White Fang threw back all the Vikings. Taho wants to try everything he can, so he activates a warrior charge that looks like a hurricane. The hero jumps high up the mountain, thereby dodging the blow. High in the sky, the boy thinks that he wants to survive and meet Haida again. Taho remembers the girl's words that the power of the saga depends only on how it is used. Saga warrior charge, like a hurricane. It was just a speed of movement, but what would happen if this saga was improved? Then the hero pushed off from the air and approached the enemy at high speed. Taho wounded the enemy, and thanks to the goddess's blessing, he remained alive. The guy quickly got up and decided that now was the best time to win. The hero, thanks to his saga, summoned a sword and quickly approached the enemy and won. At this time, a Valkyrie was watching the battle. She was glad that the warriors were winning. A raven flies to the Valkyrie. The girl thought it was Odin who had arrived, but no, it was just a messenger of God. The messenger wonders if any of the soldiers stood out on the battlefield. Valkyrie replies that there was one warrior who interested her. At this time, all the warriors rejoiced at the victory. The hero stands on a defeated enemy and thinks that it feels like he once won a tournament. Also, the sword that summoned the hero is the Fang Rune. Once this sword was one of the strongest, but then the sword became useless to anyone. Under the shouts of the warriors, the boy decided to become stronger so that as many legends as possible would be made about him. At this time, a hand touched the hero's shoulder. Born praises the boy and says that Taho has become better at using his saga. The warrior is also curious about how the young man was able to summon a sword from the air, but the hero himself does not know for sure whether he can do it at will. Born points to the castle and says that they need to take the castle for themselves, then the battle will be considered a victory. By dinner time, the soldiers had set up camp. The hero lies on the bed and cannot believe that today he experienced his first real battle. Taho checks his saga and sees that he has 5% of Castellad's power and also has the opportunity to use another saga. At this time, a very pleased Viking enters the hero's tent and announces that a guest has come to the boy. The guy walks past the soldiers and doesn't understand why everyone is having such a strange reaction. But when the young man sees the Valkyrie, he understands why the warriors looked at the hero so strangely. The Valkyrie in the boy's tent begins to apologize and wants to look at the hero's achievements. The young man is surprised. Is it really possible to show off one's achievements? Then the Valkyrie says that only if the warrior himself wants it. Hedda looks at the hero's achievements and is in great shock. After learning of the achievement, Valkyrie begins to apologize, asking how the girl could not recognize such a great warrior. Then the boy decides to explain that all his achievements were just a game, but the Valkyrie still doesn't really understand what the boy wants to explain. Haida believes that even if this was all in the game, it's still incredible. Taho thinks that esports is not a sport at all. They even give exemption from the army for such people. The world has gone crazy. The girl wants to continue the conversation about the saga and says that the number of sagas that can be used is infinite. But only at the hero level will he be able to use only 2 sagas. Because once a young man creates another saga, he won't be able to do another one for some time, so the boy has to think carefully about which saga to create. Then Taho decides to create a saga that can see through everything. After the creation of the new saga, the hero's eyesight improved, so he decided to look through the tent. The boy felt sick from using the saga, so the Valkyrie decided it was time for her to leave. But before leaving, the Valkyrie says that the hero will certainly become a very strong warrior. Haida embraces the young man and thinks that Taho is now the talisman of the Idun Legion. It is said that after the Valkyrie left the hero, a warrior entered his tent. Rolf came to take the boy to the outpost. Taho used the Saga of Visions and saw the characteristics of the warrior Rolf. On the way to the outpost, Rolf says that he is very jealous of our hero because a Valkyrie came to him. If this happened to Rolf, he would always brag about it. The guy asks Rolf what blessing the Ulra Legion has. Rolf says that in their legion, the blessing is secrecy and espionage. Espionage is the ability to pursue the enemy. You can find the enemy even by the smallest trace. Rolf brings the hero to the outpost and reports this to the commander. Taho is very surprised when he sees that the commander is actually a woman. The boy first sees a woman in Valhalla who is not a Valkyrie. The commander rises and says that she is glad to meet the warrior who was able to defeat the giant gnoll. But as soon as the commander approached the hero, the guy felt a very strong aura. A few minutes later, another Valkyrie appears in the sky. Taho is surprised when he first sees the Valkyrie Razgrid. Already in front of the warriors, Razgrid says that she is from Odin's legion and the main commander of the battlefield. After the death of the warrior Ragnar, his army joined the army of Ciri. Then Razgrid gets a light. Valkyrie begins to read that Odin is watching over the battle, and warriors who will bring good victories in battle will be waiting for a very generous reward. Therefore, the warrior Teho will be rewarded with a bag of gold and a new rune for defeating the Great Knoll, as well as 10 points of contribution to the Legion. Teho holds back his joy and thinks that he is already starting to be famous. As soon as the other warriors began to learn that our hero had defeated the Great Knoll, they began to admire him. But the Valkyrie interrupted the capture and ordered that the castle must be recaptured tomorrow morning. Razgrid also said that she will use Steel Rain tomorrow, so all warriors should use it. After these words, all the Vikings began to rejoice, but the boy did not understand why everyone was so happy. Toho asked Rolf about the Steel Rain, but only the warrior also doesn't know what it means and why everyone is so happy. The next day, a fierce battle began. Behind the castle walls, a red-eyed Knoll boss watched the battle. Last night, Ciri told me that I needed to get to the control room where the runic rune was located to open the gate. Rolf asks if they really want to go through the wall with the help of Steel Rain. The hero is very curious about what Steel Rain is. Is it really teleport magic? But then the guy finds out that in reality, the Steel Rain is not just a catapult with which they will be thrown over the wall. Rolf wonders if the young man is not happy about sitting in the Steel Rain, but the guy is not happy at all. At the signal, the barrels began to be launched over the wall. The soldiers managed to enter the castle, but many of them were injured. Meanwhile, outside the castle gates, Ciri orders the Vikings to hold their ground and prepare for a real battle, because the Vikings are being attacked by large beetles. Beetles are counted in groups of 5. If you kill the leader, all the other beetles will become simply useless. Rolf says that the beetles all look the same, you just have to trust your luck. But the hero uses his saga visions and claims that he can find out who the leader of the beetles is. Ciri approaches the boy and says let the young man show which beetle is the leader. Teho begins to tell the commander which bugs are the leaders. With the hero's help, the warriors quickly kill the leaders. Once the army killed the beetle leaders, all the other beetles simply fled the battlefield. But that's not all. Reinforcements in the form of gnolls are already running, so the commander orders Rolf to find the control room. Ciri also wants Rolf to take our hero with him. The commander entrusts his warrior into the hands of Teho. Rolf gathers his team around him to activate the invisibility spell. Together with the Legion warrior Ulra, the team reaches a hidden passage. A secret passage will allow you to enter the control room and raise the gate to the castle. Already in the secret passage, the hero comes across a spider's web. The guy wonders why there are so many cobwebs in this passage. Born replies that this place must have been abandoned long ago. The soldiers walked through the tunnel, unable to even guess that great danger awaited them ahead. As soon as Teho raised his head, he noticed a large spider. The guy activates the vision spell and notices that the spider is not alone here. There are too many of them. The hero decides to summon the sword. With such actions, he greatly shocks his friend. Rolf does not understand at all how the guy was able to get the sword without anything. A guy throws a sword into a crowd of spiders. With these actions, he causes a powerful explosion and asks his comrades not to look and to quickly run away. The comrades wonder if Teho is really a wizard, and what will happen to the sword, to which the hero says that he will create a new sword. At the end of the corridor, the soldiers see a room. The comrades manage to run inside the room and hurry to close the door to keep out the other spiders. The exhausted warriors can now take a breath, because now nothing threatens them. In the middle of the room, the friends see the control point they have been looking for so long. The hero looks at the control room and thinks that he is not surprised that the road here was not protected, because this room is well hidden and difficult to find. Rolf takes out the key because he needs to open the gate as quickly as possible so as not to lose many soldiers. A girl appears from the control point and she is ready to carry out orders. Rolf and Born look at the girl and admire her beauty, only the boy reminds his friends that they need to hurry. The warrior asks the girl to open the door. Then the girl starts opening the door to the room where there were many spiders. Then the Viking asks to open the main gate to the castle and not to the room. The exhausted comrades have completed their task. Now they must protect the point until the other warriors recapture the castle. The control center informs the soldiers that danger is approaching them. At this time, a large gnoll knocks down the door. The main boss, a red-eyed gnoll, came to the heroes. The red-eyed one begins to scream that he will tear the Valhalla warriors to pieces. The hero took out his sword and prepared for a difficult battle. Only the red-eyed one began to swing his large sledgehammer so that it was almost impossible to approach him. But only the gnoll didn't notice where our hero was hiding. At this time, Toho wanted to strike from the air. The red-eyed one noticed the hero's attack and managed to grab the boy and slam him to the ground with great force. Rolf thought for a second that his friend had already died from such a great force of impact. From the great force of the blow, the hero lost consciousness. Only when Taeho opened his eyes did he see that he was being attacked by an enemy. Rolf attacked the gnoll with fire magic to save the boy's life. After this attack, the gnoll glared at the warrior and set out to destroy him. The red-eyed gnoll couldn't decide who to destroy first, Rolf or our hero. When the boy noticed that the gnoll couldn't decide who to kill first, he pretended to be dead. Red-eyed, seeing the hero, immediately decided to go and destroy Rolf. The warrior noticed the gnoll running towards him and began to prepare for the attack very quickly. Meanwhile, Taeho stood up with all his might. No matter how much his wounds hurt, he had to win. The guy activated the Hurricane Saga and was approaching the enemy very quickly. The hero landed a very critical hit, causing the red-eyed man to scream loudly. The warrior pointed his finger at the enemy and suggested finishing him off better. Then Taeho wanted to create a sword, but he managed to make a large iron hammer called the Skullbreaker. With one powerful blow, the boy ended the battle. Our hero's friends were very happy about the victory and were shocked by his strength. The capture of the castle was successfully completed. The last commander of the Zero Legion defeated the Frostmane Gnoll. The warrior's name was Brak. He was from Thor's Legion. At this time, Odin's messenger flew by. He noticed that Taeho would still be a much more interesting warrior than Brak. After the victory, all the warriors began to celebrate. Only the hero stood on the wall and looked at the sky with his thoughts. Rolf approached the boy and asked if he was okay. The boy claims that he is, but his whole body hurts a lot, but the warrior is glad that his friend is alive. The commander wants to join the guys and have a drink with them. Rolf says it's an honor for him to have a drink with the commander. The other soldiers saw the commander and also wanted a drink. Previously, the boy thought that Vikings were evil, gloomy, and didn't know how to have fun or care about others. Only now did the hero realize that they also know how to rejoice and laugh. It's been a few days since the victory. The Vikings are still celebrating their victory, while the boy can't stand it anymore and wants it all to end as soon as possible. A Valkyrie approaches the hero and asks if the guy is really Taeho. The warriors were shocked that the Valkyries had come to the young man at such a late hour. Heda also visited the hero. As soon as the warriors noticed the Valkyrie, they rejoiced for Taeho. The Vikings wanted to drink more, but the commander ordered everyone to go to bed because tomorrow was a very important day. The next morning, the boy woke up a little tired. The warriors who noticed the boy began to wonder what they had talked about with the Valkyrie at dinner yesterday. But Taeho can't tell because he promised not to tell anyone. At this time, the commander shouts that they need to get ready because they have a very important mission. As soon as the gnolls took the castle, they went to the dwarven mine, but the dwarves blocked the mine, and since then nothing has been heard, no messages, not even about help. Therefore, an important mission is to get to the mine and find out what problems have arisen there. The boy begins to imagine what real dwarves should look like. Then Rolf says that dwarves really like beer, maybe they'll want to drink it with the Vikings. Ciri also tells you that the mine is far away, so you need to get to the place as quickly as possible. After a short pause, the commander also says with fear that they will go to the mines on the Black Lightning. All the warriors were happy when they heard this, but only Rolf had no idea what it was. Taeho remembers yesterday when the Valkyrie asked to keep everything a secret. Hado gave the hero a necklace with a golden apple. It will help him regain his strength faster. The Valkyrie also gives pieces of a golden apple. Such pieces can heal wounds, remove poison, and cure curses. The girl wanted to thank the boy for his great achievements. Already in real time, the boy was buried deep in the snow. Taeho already knew that Black Lightning was something dangerous, but he couldn't even imagine that they would be put in graves. Only not all soldiers survived such a trip. The boy remained alive only because of the necklace that the Valkyrie gave him. The army stands in front of the large gate leading into the mine. The commander looks at the open door and thinks that they must have been tricked into leaving the door open. When the team enters the mine, they notice that it is very dark, but this does not surprise them because the dwarves are afraid of sunlight. They say that it turns them to stone. The commander shouts that they have come to help on behalf of the Valkyrie Razgrid. Taeho activates the Saga of Vision to see what's happening and notices many red silhouettes. The commander shouts for everyone to quickly raise their shields. The army was heavily bombarded with arrows from all sides. Ciri wonders if the hero will be able to see the enemy now. Then Taeho activates his saga and sees that the dwarves have turned into real zombies. The soldiers don't understand where the zombies came from in the mine. Rolf asks if the hero is sure that everyone here is a zombie. Then the guy claims that there can be no mistake. The dwarves here are already dead. Although each dwarf has a name, they are all already dead. Ciri shouts for everyone to get ready to raise their shields. Only warriors show pierced shields, so they may not survive the next attack. At this time, an unknown dwarf appears and asks everyone to close their eyes. The heroes close their eyes, and then the dwarf threw a bottle of flame. The dwarf also shows the warriors where to hide. Rolf asks if there is another entrance, because it seems he is stuck, but there is no other entrance. Let the warrior climb to the end. With the help of the dwarf, the entire army descended underground. Underground, the warriors saw a large castle. Already in the castle, the miner began to tell that a vampire had appeared yesterday and had done all this in just one day. Also, if a vampire bites or kills someone, they will turn into a zombie. If a zombie bites them, the same thing will happen. Only 20 dwarves remained in the underground castle and managed to escape. The commander wonders what the vampire who did all this looked like. The miner says that the vampire was large, his entire body was grey, hairless, with black eyes, and had large claws. The vampire used physical strength more than magic. Ciri wonders if the dwarf Isaac really wants revenge. If so, then it's better to wait for a better moment. Only the miners say that everything must be resolved now. There are more important issues that need to be resolved. Then Isaac says that Ura was recently found in the mine. All the warriors were in great shock from this news. But then the Vikings started asking what Uru was all about. The Vikings are walking through an underground mine and talking about the metal they need to mine and why it is so valuable. Rolf also wants to know what is so valuable about this Uru is the metal of the gods, the strongest metal in the world. Such metal has the power of runes. Even Thor's legendary hammer is made of Uru metal. Therefore, we must prevent enemies from taking possession of such a valuable resource. When the soldiers approached the castle, Isaac said that the holy anvil was at the very top. The Uru metal is in this castle, so the vampire must also be here. Improving the Uru metal is only possible through starlight or moonlight. The hero wonders how starlight can get underground, but the anvil is connected to the sky. You just need to open the hatch. The guy thinks that now is a very good time to attack, because vampires are much weaker during the day than at night. The gates to the castle open, then the commander orders a quick attack forward. At this time, the zombie dwarves are just resting. A fierce battle has begun between zombie dwarves and Vikings. Ciri gave very clear orders for defense and attack to her warriors and dwarves. The dwarves easily defeated their brothers who had left behind their lives. The miners attacked their brothers and asked for forgiveness. To the sounds of a fierce battle, the heroes ran to the room where the sacred anvil was located. The team entered the room and noticed the metal of Uru, but did not notice the vampire. Then Teho shouted for everyone to look at the mountain. The hero looked at the vampire because the vampire was much smaller than the gnoll, but the aura was hundreds of times stronger. The vampire's name was Stragos. As soon as the Vikings wanted to attack the vampire, Stragos defeated all the warriors in an instant. Stragos approached the hero and asked how they got here in the first place, and that the metal of belonged only to the vampire. The vampire was at the boy's throat and warned him not to move unless he wanted to be left without a head. Because Rolf attacked the vampire, the warrior was injured. Only now Rolf can't shoot a bow. The commander says that the vampire didn't kill them intentionally. Stragos claims that he wants to turn our team into his servants, because it would be a shame to kill such strong warriors. Teho thinks it's better to die than be a zombie's servant. Ciri, meanwhile, takes a crossbow in her hand and shoots at the vampire, but it's all in vain. Stragos is very strong. The dwarf is motivated by the commander's behavior, so he also decides to go into battle against the vampire. The vampire breaks through the pillar of fire. Ciri orders the warriors to protect Isaac. The Vikings take out their shields and stand to protect the dwarf. Only a vampire can break their defenses with one attack. Other dwarves also attempt to attack the vampire. Only such attacks do not bring results. At this time, the hero attempts to open the hatch to let light into the room. The light causes the vampire severe pain, and the boy destroys the lever so that the hatch will no longer close. The sunlight makes the vampire fall to his knees. Rolf asks the hero if he knows how to really kill a vampire. Teho replies that you need to drive a wooden stake into the vampire's heart, or wait until the vampire dies from the light. Looking at Stragos, the heroes noticed that the vampire was dictating some kind of spell. It turned out that the vampire was simply summoning clouds to block out the light. Our team started to beat the vampire, but Stragos managed to turn into many bats and avoid the attack. The vampire has entered its second phase, Bergo. Bergo created a strong spell and attacked the warriors with it. The hero told his men to stay away. Only one Viking did not have time to escape and turned into a pile of bones. Bergo laughs and says, "Will the warriors really run for that long?" The poison is already in almost the entire room. There's nowhere to run. Teho decides to go on the attack against the vampire. The hero dodged all of Bergo's attacks. As soon as the boy found himself behind the vampire and struck him in the back, The sword could not withstand it, and broke, not even leaving any wounds. Bergo praised the young man for his good attempt, but such a sword could not pierce a vampire's skin. Taeho decides to just ride the vampire because he can't get down from a great height. The vampire suggests lowering the hero to the ground and continuing the fight. The guy agrees and thinks it was unexpected, but reasonable. Only the vampire gains more height and wants to trample Taeho into the ground. At this time, a new saga is awakening. The team watches as the vampire climbs higher and higher. The hero makes an attempt to activate a new saga. The new saga is the ability of the Castellad Knight, the best ability for flying beasts from the griffin to the dragon. The saga is called the Mountains of Castellad. From such a saga, the angry vampire turns into a beautiful little vampire who obeys our hero. The team doesn't even know what to do in such a case. Then everyone decides they want to pet such a beautiful vampire. The commander also couldn't hold back and came up to hug me. Bergo used the ability of suppression and transformed. He will never forgive what the hero did to him. As soon as the vampire transformed, everyone prepared for battle again. Taeho wants to try his saga again, so he mounts a vampire. The guy wants to cause a lot of damage to the vampire, so he asks the team for help. Friends undoubtedly trust the hero and will help him. Taeho ordered the vampire to fly as high as he could. The vampire began to gain height very quickly. When the vampire was high enough, the hero ordered him to fly down as quickly as possible. From this, Bergo hit the ground with great force. The hero activated the steel sledgehammer and struck the vampire. Taeho shouts at his friends that now it's their turn to attack. The dwarf takes and blasts the vampire with such force that it even knocks the boy back. Isaac throws fire at the vampire. The young man thinks that carrying so many dangerous explosives with him would only take a fool to do so. After the vampire died, everyone approached the casket. As soon as Isaac opened the box, only a small piece of Uru metal was inside. The heroes were very unhappy because for the sake of such a small piece of metal, they risked their lives. Only the dwarf shouts that they do not understand anything. Isaac starts to get angry and scream because that much metal would be enough for a whole ring. But the guy says that a dwarf once said that you could make a sledgehammer like Thor's. The miner puts the metal back into the box and allows the heroes of Valhalla to melt down such valuable metal. Because now the dwarf has neither the time to melt the metal nor the strength to protect it. The team thanks you for your trust and will deliver the metal in its best form. Rolf offered the dwarves a drink, which made Isaac happy, of course, because he agreed with the warrior's words. Now we need to drink. The whole team was very happy when they found out they would be trying dwarven beer. Only the commander upsets the soldiers because they don't have time for beer and have to go back. But Isaac doesn't agree to let the heroes go empty-handed. Then Isaac leads the team to a room where the dwarves are making weapons. All the Vikings began to choose their weapons, but the boy stood there and didn't know what to choose. Taeho uses the saga of vision to see the best weapons. From this he notices an incredible weapon. Before the warriors leave, the dwarves thank them for their help and for helping to avenge their brothers. Isaac is also surprised that the hero knows how to handle weapons. Taeho chose a cloak, light and very durable. The dwarf also says that the cloak is not ordinary. To use it you need to know the spell. Of course the hero will be taught, but if there are problems, let the guy just come again. After the spell, the hero turned into an eagle and could fly safely. Already in the castle, the Valkyries handed over the metal to and told him what had happened in the mines. Valkyrie praises the team for doing the incredible, so the warriors who died will be reborn as steely, proud warriors. Therefore, Razgrid will take care of everything else so the heroes can go and rest. Rolf offers the guy a drink, but he refuses due to extreme fatigue. Ciri praises the hero because he made a very big contribution to their victory. Rolf still offers the young man a drink, but he refuses the second time. Taeho thinks that Stragos was a very strong opponent. The cloud summoning and transformation are all no joke. But thanks to this battle and victory, the hero's synchronization reached 9%. At the moment, one of the Valkyries is flying on reconnaissance. Far ahead, the Valkyrie noticed that the ground was starting to shake, and it looked very strange. She wanted to fly closer, but this idea was very risky. Therefore, the Valkyrie decided to use the ability that turned the girl into a swan to see what was happening. Already in the castle, the girl tells Razgrid that a major attack is being prepared against the warriors. The commander-in-chief is shocked by this information. The girl listens to the commander and thinks that she managed to return and even tell everything. Razgrid shouts that at this time the battle may begin the next day, so the commander must ask for help from Valhalla. Ciri told Razgrid everything, so the commander tells his troops that they need to go to bed earlier, and drinking is also strictly prohibited. Ciri also looks around and can't find the hero. But Taeho moved further away from the team to learn how to use the new cloak he had taken from the dwarves in the weapons room. The boy wants to learn how to use a cloak properly before the battle begins. The next day, the Valkyrie Ingrid arrives at Razgrid, bringing 500 warriors to help. Ingrid wonders how many enemies there will be. Then the commander says that it is possible even more than 6,000. At this time, there are only 2,500 Vikings. The girl claims that they have no choice, they must enter the battle, the Valkyrie may even use protective magic. After all the words, Razgrid ordered everyone to go into battle for the 9 worlds and Asgard. At the sight of the battlefield, the warriors saw their enemies. Thor's legion enters the battle first. Ciri also commands her army to prepare arrows for the attack. Taeho creates a new weapon for himself, a lightning crossbow. A large hail of arrows falls on the enemies, but they defend themselves with shields. The enemies have approached the castle walls, thrown hooks and are trying to climb over the high walls. Only the Vikings pour boiling water from barrels to stop the gnolls. One of the large gnoll mammoths runs towards the castle to destroy the gate. Some of the enemies did climb over the wall, so the Vikings had to engage in a fierce battle. In the midst of the battle, the hero noticed some creatures flying in the sky above them. The enemies in the sky were gnolls sitting on wyverns. The wyverns began to breathe fire, then the Valkyrie began to cast a protective spell. The girl screams that they need to get rid of the wyverns, because the spell won't withstand such strong attacks for long. Taeho looked at his cloak and came up with a plan. The hero ran away and jumped from the castle walls. Already in the sky, with the help of a cloak, the boy turned into an eagle. The warrior in the body of an eagle looks at his enemies, so now he will show what he has learned from his knightly training. The eagle found its first enemy and was approaching it very quickly. Taeho, standing next to the enemy, knew half of the spell and kicked the gnoll in the face. From such an attack, the gnoll simply fell out of the wyvern's saddle. The guy is very happy because now the wyvern is in his hands. The hero also wanted to create a spear, but instead of a regular metal spear, he created a bamboo one. Taeho began to shout for the wyvern to attack, then the small dragon began to attack the other wyverns. The other wyvern saw the enemy sitting in the saddle of a relative. Only the boy didn't even think about retreating. He began to defeat his enemies one by one with the help of a bamboo spear. The other warriors saw all this and began to shout that Idun's legion was very powerful. Valkyrie looked at the hero. She was amazed at how such a boy was able to defeat such a large number of enemies and wyverns alone. But this was not the end. The great army was getting closer and closer. A legion of harpies appeared. Taeho saw that there were too many harpies, so he had to retreat. He couldn't handle it alone. The boy ordered the wyvern to start descending closer to Commander Ciri. Ciri jumped onto the hero's wyvern to help in the battle that was taking place in the sky. Already in front of the enemies, the commander uses the saga of the sorceress's arrows, which always hit the target. The warriors watched the incredible battle that took place in the sky. They were delighted with the power of the heroes. Razgrid looks on and says that they only won this battle because of a warrior from Iduna's legion. During the battle, something very large fell from the sky, creating a large crater and a column of smoke. Taeho and the commander were shocked when they saw the enemy falling from the sky. The enemy turned out to be a giant ghoul. Ciri suggested retreating and letting the hero leave the commander with Rolf. The ghoul began to attack the castle with his incredible strength. Valkyrie placed defenses on the castle, but the ghoul's attacks were too strong to hold them back. After 2 strong blows, the defense began to collapse. Razgrid began to help Ragnleif maintain defense, but with such powerful attacks, it would not be possible to hold the defense for long. Razgrid says that with low-class warriors, they cannot defeat such a powerful enemy. If only the Valkyrie could use her true power. The ghoul begins to attack. The Valkyrie hopes that she will be able to use her true power. Razgrid asks Odin to grant her the strength to win. Low-class warriors would never defeat such a powerful enemy without the help of Odin. Valkyrie screams for God to give her permission to reveal their fighting skills. Odin watches over the battle through his messenger. The messenger's voice could be heard refusing to use the Valkyrie's true powers, which shocked the girls because they could die. This battle is just a test of the strength of the warriors. Only strong warriors are needed in a real Valhalla. At this moment, one of the soldiers shouts that no one should surrender. These words greatly encouraged all the Vikings. Without a shred of fear, a warrior from Thor's legion jumped onto the large ghoul. Brak dealt a powerful blow to the enemy. Seeing such a picture, the warriors simply began to refuse defeat and marched forward to victory. But the powerful attack did not penetrate the monster's thick skin. Taeho wonders what they should do against such an enemy. Ciri suggests that the hero try to attack the monster, at which time they will help with the attack and make a path. At this point, Brak has made a weak spot on the ghoul's head. A large scar appeared on the ghoul's head. The guy decided to try to hit the enemy's weak spot. Ciri orders Rolf to prepare the ballista to clear a path for the attack. It is also necessary for Ciri and Rolf to strike together with their sagas. The hero waits for his friends to clear the way for the attack. But while the boy was waiting, a giant ghoul noticed him. The ghoul struck Teho with great force. From such a blow, the boy hit the ground with great force. As soon as Razgrid saw Teho fall to the ground, she ran to help him. The Valkyrie also entrusts the protection of the castle to her warriors and goes to help the boy of the Idun Legion. Currently, Teho is the only hope for victory. The gnolls saw that the hero could not fight right now, so they quickly approached him. The young man thinks he needs to get up, but his body is very badly injured. Is he really going to die this time? Hallucinations begin in the boy's head. He thinks about how he spends time with Haida. The girl in the hero's head says let him eat the golden apple as soon as possible. In the present tense, Teho is eating pieces of a golden apple. Valkyrie notices a very strong light. Razgrid is surprised how a simple warrior can use the power of a god. After Teho ate pieces of the apple, his wounds healed and all his strength was restored. The gnolls decided to finish quickly and kill the warrior. With just one strong blow, the hero threw back all his enemies. At the top of the wall, the commander and Rolf ask if the boy is okay. Everything is ready at the friend's place, so the young man needs to prepare to attack the monster. But only Teho has lost his dragon, so he won't be able to get to the monster's head. A Valkyrie appears behind the hero and says she will help. At this time, the Vikings unsuccessfully attack the monster in the hope of doing at least something. But the monster throws the warriors away with one wave of his hand. Meanwhile, Teho blushed heavily from the help of the beautiful Valkyrie. After a few seconds, the beautiful Valkyrie transformed into a real dragon. Razgrid looks at the boy, and now she understands why Odin forbade the use of true power. Because Teho is strong, even stronger than the Valkyrie could have imagined. This battle is now in the hands of our hero. Let him do everything for his victory. Razgrid asks the guy to climb in. The other warriors will try to buy some time. After Teho mounted the dragon, the Valkyrie quickly began to gain altitude. As soon as Ciri noticed that the hero was at a good height, she ordered Rolf to prepare for the attack. Rolf activates fire arrows, an explosive strike. The commander prepares magic arrows that always hit the target. Razgrid began to fly towards the monster, and the hero prepared to attack. Brak was also preparing to deliver a powerful blow. Ciri, Rolf, and Brak struck with great force, causing the giant to fall onto his back. Teho was preparing to deliver a blow that could decide the battle. For the sake of this blow, the hero must risk everything, perhaps even his life. The guy activates the Hurricane Saga and delivers a blow of terrifying force. The giant ghoul could not withstand such force, so he was defeated. After the victory, all the Vikings began to celebrate. Valkyries join the celebration and greet the warriors. At the festival, the girls ask for forgiveness because they cannot fill the cups of all the warriors. Therefore, let Razgrid fill the cups of warriors who were able to turn the battle to the side of victory. Valkyrie is preparing to summon powerful warriors. The first warrior of Thor's legion, the powerful and fearless Brak. The Vikings greet Brak with loud shouts. The second warrior from Idun's legion, practically immortal and no less powerful than Teho. After the guy started climbing Razgrid, the Vikings just went crazy. Valkyrie announces that the warriors currently standing on stage will be promoted to low class. Teho mentions that the Viking-born is also low class. Today the Vikings will celebrate like they have never celebrated before. After the battle, Brak began to respect our hero. Such a celebration made the guy feel as if he was standing on the big stage again after the victory. Teho begins to celebrate like never before. All this time, an unknown warrior was watching the young man. The unknown girl did not understand how a low-class warrior was able to use the power of the gods. An unknown Viking tells the Valkyrie that the power of the gods can be activated. There is nothing strange in that. The Valkyrie asked for help from the unknown, to which the warrior agreed and left the feast. A week had passed since the victory over the monster, and the boy was sleeping peacefully in his new home. But at one point he heard loud sounds of lightning. Already on Teho Street I saw the same unknown warrior. The young man also could not understand why there were lightning bolts around the warrior. The unknown Viking began to tell that Teho defeated 2 large gnolls, was also able to defeat a giant ghoul. Ordinary low-class warriors treat the guy as a hero. The warrior threw off his cloak, then Teho saw the strength of the Viking. He was as powerful as a Valkyrie, maybe even stronger. The unknown warrior turned out to be Ragnar Lodbrok. He came to meet the hero in battle. Teho replied that he did not know the warrior and why the boy should fight. The young man also claims that he does not want to fight without a good reason. Only Ragnar looks on with angry eyes, but says that a reason is not needed because the boy will die soon. Teho was shocked by such words. The mysterious warrior Ragnar suddenly appeared in front of the hero's house. What goal does he pursue? Ragnar persuaded our hero to come out to the duel, so Taeho prepared for a fierce battle against a strong opponent. As soon as the fight began, the warrior used the saga attack of the boar warrior and began to very quickly approach the enemy. Only Ragnar blocked the hero's attack without any problems. Taeho couldn't even make the warrior step back. The guy began to attack the enemy very tightly, but Ragnar's experience and fighting skills were not on par with the hero. After many attempts to attack, the young man realized that in this way he would not even be able to scratch the warrior's skin. This Ho quickly moved behind the warrior to make a surprise attack. Only Ragnar sent the hero flying with one kick. The warrior's attack was so strong that Taehi even broke trees with his body. The hero looks at the warrior and thinks that he is very strong. If it weren't for the goddess's blessing, the guy would probably be dead by now. Rangar claims that warriors who die become more powerful, and then they go to a place of rest. So if the hero dies, don't worry too much. The warrior began to swing his sword. Only after a stronger blow did Ragnar not see the hero's body, not even a trace. The Viking only had to look up at the sky to see that Taeho had transformed into an eagle through his cloak and was trying to flee the battlefield. The man laughed at this, because a warrior must fight to the end, to the last of his strength. But the brave hero didn't even think about running away. He began to use the saga of the boar warrior's attack to try to deliver a quick, powerful blow from the sky. In the sky, Taeho transformed back into a human and began to create a large hammer. With great force and speed, the hero tried to strike Ragnar. The blow was very powerful, but even from such a powerful blow, Ragnar was able to avoid it. The warrior took the boy by the face and began to argue that he had good technique, but that it was not enough to win. Let Taeho use all his strength. If the young man does not use all his strength, he may indeed die. The Viking throws the hero face down into the ground with great force, and then he delivers a blow that even cracks the ground. After the hero stops moving, Ragnar leaves the battlefield disappointed because he expected more from the boy. As soon as Ragnar picked up the sword, an explosion occurred behind him. This Ho stood and looked at the warrior. The hero was ready to continue the fight. Ragnar was surprised by this turn of events. Did the boy really use divine power? Surely the goddess Idun really trusts her warrior? But only Yu-Ho didn't know how to use the power of God, so he simply collapsed without strength. When the hero woke up, he saw Heda in front of him. The boy was even frightened by such a sudden appearance. Heda says that the young man slept for a long time. Then the hero tells that an unknown warrior suddenly appeared and attacked. The guy also thought he was going to die, but only Taeho raised his head and noticed the same warrior. The hero was frightened by Ragnar. The Viking was enraged by the boy's stories. Heda introduces Ragnar to the hero. Now the warrior Ragnar will be a mentor for the boy. This Ho doesn't want a man to be his mentor. Ragnar doesn't want to be a mentor to such a weakling either. Valkyrie claims that she can no longer teach the boy, so she brought Ragnar. The man says that a low-class warrior can use the power of the gods is truly amazing, but so can all children. If that's all the hero can surprise, the warrior's indignation will be very great. Only Heda is sure that the warrior will soon change his mind and start asking Taeho taught Ragnar. Valkyrie also asks the hero to show his saga to the Viking. The boy holds a steel feather in his hands that can allow him to show other warriors his saga. Ragnar wants to see what's so special about an ordinary guy. As soon as the warrior saw the hero's saga, he was in great shock. Heda asks how far Tae can go. What if he finishes his saga? Ragnar says he can become Sigurd, a warrior leader of the Vikings, one of the sons of Ragnar Lodbrok. The Valkyrie is also interested in how far the hero can go. Only the man does not answer the question, but claims that he simply needs to teach the young man. Heda asks that the warrior not go mad in battle, but Ragnar is sure that a warrior like our hero will be difficult to kill. When Heda and Ragnar are left alone, the warrior says that the guy has an incredible saga. Also, don't let the Valkyrie worry about the young man's training. It seems like the warrior would also be interested in teaching him. But still, Heda wonders what heights the hero will be able to reach. Ragnar just looked at the girl quietly.